Hello, it's Tom from BlackToad Studio, and here is my 1750 points of NightLords. So we'll start down here with the HQs. We have the Warlord, which is a Chaos Terminator Lord, and he has currently got equipped with him the Claws of the Black Hunt, and he is joined by a HQ Sorcerer there. He's just got a Combi Melter and a Force Stave. And then we go over to some troop choices. Over here on the right, we have 3 squads of Chaos Space Marines, and then each of those squads has got 2 plasmas in it, and the aspiring champion's just got a chainsword and a bolt pistol. Over here we have 2 squads of raptors. We have one of 7 and one of 8. The only difference between the two is one of the champions has a power axe and the other one has a power sword. We also have a Hellforged Contemptor here with a Keras Assault Cannon and a Ectoplasm Blaster, I think it is, in his fist. We also have a Hellforged Sicaran in there with twin las cannons and obviously the main gun and a heavy bolter. And then finally, for another detachment here, we're bringing out the Knight, and he's just equipped as shown there with the Avenger Gatling Cannon and the Blade. So that is my 1750 points of NightLords. Let's see what Dom's bought for his army.
It's Dom from BlackToad Studios, and here's my 1750 points, 1,750 points of Astra Militarum. And we have got 2 different detachments here. Over on the right here, we have got a battalion of Militarum Tempestus. We have got 6 squads of Scions here. Each squad of 5 has 1 volley gun, and the sergeant there normally has a las pistol, but in this case over here, this guy here has got a bolt pistol. Coming here, we have got 4 Taurox primes here, each with Gatlers and each with 2 autocannons. In front of them we have 3 command squads. This one here with 4 melters, this one here with 3 plasmas and a medic, and this one here also with 4 melters. In front here we've got the Tempestus primes. So we've got 2 with plasma pistol and chainsaws. We have the Warlord here with a power fist. He also has voice of command, and we'll see what else he can do in a moment. We have 2 commissars, one with a bolt gun and a power sword, the other one there with a power fist and a power sword. Moving across here, we have got Outrider detachment with 1 of each of the Hellhound variants. So we've got a standard Hellhound here with a heavy bolter. This one here, the Bane Wolf with a heavy stubber and heavy flamer in the hull. And Devil Dog over here with a Hunter Killer and Multi-Melter. We've taken these with the Talan regiment, so basically going to move out any modifiers for the heavy weapons there. We've got the old man himself, Commissar Yarrick. And finally, we have spent the command point from this detachment in getting an operative, and we've got a Vindica assassin there. So we're a little bit short on points, but we have got a lot of spirit, and of course the Emperor does protect. So in total here we have got 8 command points. Now let's have a look at the battlefield and mission.
Okay, here we are on this battlefield, about to commence this battle. We have supplies from above as the mission that we have got. So that involves 4 objectives on the board. We have 1 down here. We have another one over here. We have another one in this building, and then finally the last one all the way over this side of the board down here. Now, when you're holding them from the end of the second battle round onwards, they are worth 1 point. However, at the start of each battle round, we roll a d6, and for each objective that is, and if you win that, you get to move it 3 inches in a direction of your choosing. So that could be beneficial or detrimental to each player. So other than that, we've got Slay the Warlord, Line Breaker, and First Strike. So all pretty standard. And at the moment, the NightLords are going first because I've deployed first. So we'll see if Dom can see. He's rolling his sleeves up.
BlackToad dice.
Don't show me the toad.
I'll show you the toad.
Oh no. Okay. So we'll be back in a moment with the. Well, I suppose it's the Militarum Tempestus / Talan, turn 1.
Turn 1 movement for the Astra Militarum, or the Militarum Tempestus. So over on the right flank here, the Taurox primes are moving through this street here, kind of getting ready to lay some firepower down. The Kitrin Drakes, as they're known, are getting ready to fire some shots upon the filthy heretics. Down here, the objective floated along, and this Taurox is now kind of sitting on it there. Also over here, this one has moved over towards the corner. The Hellhound at the front there, the Devil Dog there, and the Bane Wolf at the rear. And that is pretty much it. The other objectives, so it appeared the objectives on my side of the battlefield here quite happily floated towards the Astra Militarum, and across on the NightLord side, this one being terrified of the NightLords, has moved further away from both the NightLords and the Guard. And this one here has moved slowly towards the infantry there. So that's it for movement. Now let's have a look what the Guard can do in turn 1 shooting. Right, turn 1 shooting for the Guard. To start off events here, we had the heavy flamer and heavy bolters, not the heavy flamer, the inferno cannon and the heavy bolter firing into this squad here, killing off 4 of the NightLords in that squad. The Devil Dog fired its melters and hunter killer into the night. Tom sensibly rotated iron shields and saved everything that came in there. This one here popped smokes. The Vindicator Assassin, then first time I've used one for a very long time, fired through this building as a sharpshooter would.
Unbelievable.
Hitting the assassin in the back, the sorcerer in the backfield, stripping off all the wounds. So he is now gone. That was first blood there. Then across here, the 3 Tauroxes opened up fire. The Gattlers opened up into the infantry. The autocannons fired off into the Dreadnought. As you can see, the Dreadnought is still standing completely unscathed. Although the infantry that were here suffered heavy casualties. 8 NightLords fell to the Gatler fire that came in here. This one was just in half range here and was able to roll some 6s, which then generate more shots, and a couple of those hit, and it was brutal and completely, decimated this squad here. So 2 squads gone in the first turn for the NightLords. Pretty nasty stuff.
I might add that I'm not lending you any models again.
Yeah, and of course the Vindicator Assassin is Tom's, so he's only got himself to blame on that one there. Now we're going to move into turn 1 for the NightLords and see if they can pay back the kind gift of death.
Okay, so as the NightLords commence their turn 1, we've just finished movement here, and the Knight has pounded up the board. He's just getting himself ready, hopefully, to engage a couple of these guys here. We'll see how the Overwatch sequence goes when he gets there. Also over here, they've jumped out the ruins and decided to line up, because we've got some plasmas in there, so I'm hopefully going to put some wounds into a couple of these tanks. Dom is nodding no. I feel like we're going to. And over here, this Dreadnought, angered and also just in a bit of a rampage, decided that squad there needs to be redeemed in some way, so they're going to charge into these guys here, hopefully. And then we have the Venator staying still, ready to put some lasers and some main cannon into all these little ants going around the board. That's right, I had ants. So that's movement. We'll now head on into the shooting phase. I would have said psychic and shooting, but someone sniped my sorcerer, so we'll be back in a moment. Okay, so as the NightLords finish their shooting, over on this side of the board, the Dreadnought here fired all of its shots into the left-hand one here, taking it down to 5 wounds. The Venator then fired all of its shots into the, actually fired 2 lasers into here, which actually failed to do much, and then it fired its main cannon in here, taking it down to 3 wounds. So we didn't kill anything, which is a bit annoying, but well, yes, time yet, combat coming. And over here we have a Knight, and all of these Chaos Marines down here, they split their fire, so the Knight went into the central one here, taking it down to 5 wounds, and all the plasmas and bolters went into this one, taking it down to 6 wounds. Probably should have concentrated fire, but I felt like I needed to take them down a little bit more on each one. So that is the end of the shooting phase. We'll now head on into the assault phase. Okay, so in the combat phase, we had some mixed results. So on this side, the Hellforge had to charge both the front Tauroxes there, and took 2 wounds for his trouble, which was not nice. And then he rolled a double 1 on his charge. Now, normally I would have re-rolled one of those. However, because I'd done the Knight over on this side, he decided to charge the Devil Dog and the Hellhound. Maybe foolish, and it turned out to be fairly painful, because he put defensive gunners on and managed to take 12 wounds off. Woohoo! And then I rolled under my charge distance for both, and then for one of them, and then I re-rolled and got the same result. So I'm down command points and took 12 wounds off a Knight. However, in combat, he did make it into the Hellhound there and destroyed that fairly easily, and then he's consolidated into the Devil Dog there, so hopefully that can't do too much next turn, but we shall see. So that is the end of NightLords turn 1. We'll now head on over to the Guard turn 2.
turn 2 movement for the guard. So down here, the Devil Dog decided remaining in combat with a Chaos Knight is possibly not the best thing in the world. So it's fallen back away from the Knight across there. The Bane Wolf, however, has taken a different course of action and zoomed around the back of the Knight here and towards this infantry squad there. Also in the end of the movement phase here, we had 2 squads of stormtroopers that have jumped down onto this objective. The objective drifted off behind these containers, prime opportunity there for them to jump down and claim that objective there. Of course here, this objective did float just out of reach of the NightLords there, so they won't be able to claim that, unfortunately. Down here, 2 of the command squads, Commissar Yarrick, the Warlord, and Commissar and another officer have all jumped out of the Taurox Primes here. So we've got a plasma squad here next to Yarrick and the Warlord. We've got a Commissar there. The squad of melter guns has moved up. I believe I'm just out of range here for the super melter. It is a shame. And that is that there. So still in reserve, we have a command squad inside this Taurox here, and we have got 4 more squads of troops in reserve at the moment. So let's move into, one last thing. We repaired 1 wound onto this Taurox Prime just to put it back onto the top bracket there, so it's able to hit on 3s now rather than 4s. So with that in mind, let's move on to turn 2 shooting for the Astra Militarum. Right, so turn 2 shooting for the Imperial Guard here. So saw both the command squads, the officers and the commissars all disembarked here. So the plasma squad here started off firing after the orders were given. So the order given to both squads from both different officers was elimination protocol sanctioned. So that was basically reroll wounds against the vehicles. Very nice, especially if you've got lots of special weapons. So down here, we've also got Yarrick, so you're rerolling 1s to hit. So we overcharged our plasma guns. 1, unfortunately, even with the reroll, wasn't enough and burnt himself to a crisp. Put some wounds into the Dreadnought, which was here. Then the remaining wounds were stripped off by this Taurox here, firing in and taking off the last couple of wounds there. Over here, similar story, the 4 melter guns here, only 1 was in range to get 2d6 damage, which hit, didn't do anything, unfortunately, even with the rerolls, but the 3 other melters hit and did 14 wounds to the Venator there. So exactly what they needed. They are stormtroopers after all, and destroyed it there. Both didn't explode because the stormtroopers know what they're doing and didn't need to do that extra bit of damage. Across the field, we had some more fire coming in across here. The stormtroopers down here fired everything they had. The las guns out of rapid fire at the moment, but the volley guns fired in as well. With the Bane Wolf there, came in and ripped the squad down to 3 here. So it's some really nasty stuff for the guard at the moment. So currently the NightLords are just really holding this little area of the battlefield, although there are rumours of raptors and a Terminator Lord, and they may appear next turn. So let's see what the NightLords can do in their turn 2.
Okay, so as we end turn 2 movement for the NightLords, looking a bit desperate over here, having lost some heavy hitters of mine. So the Raptors and the Chaos Terminator Lord here have dropped down in this area because I feel like we're going to try and thin out some of these guardsmen. And at the rear of the battlefield over here, the other Raptor squad is come up behind. So we're going to try and sandwich these guys in this gap here. It's probably going to be reasonably painful for me in some ways. However, on this side of the battle, because there's not much over here, I didn't feel like there was much leading coming over here. Obviously, the objectives would be good to get, but I feel like I'll just get picked apart from range if I didn't deal with the tanks. So this squad has moved up onto the objective with the plasmas, and also this lone plasma here, after being the only one surviving the leadership tests, has moved up in range to fire onto this Devil Dog, and the Knight has moved in there just in case we don't kill it, because he's got the option to obviously turn around and shoot this way instead. And also there is an assassin sitting up here, and I think if we did kill that, he would be potentially the nearest target. We shall see. So that is the end of movement. I didn't score any points because I wasn't on the objective at the start of the turn, so we'll now move on to the shooting phase. Okay, so as we end turn 2 NightLords shooting, over here we had all the plasmas fire into the Devil Dog, which is no longer there. Also, we fired all the bolters, and we got down to 1 wound because Dom used a cheeky reroll, which was rather frustrating because I had to then basically put Trail Destruction on the Knight, and I decided to risk firing the heavy bolter down as it would actually finish it off. Heavy stubber, sorry, heavy stubber, which was good. Then I fired the heavy Avenger Gatling cannon into here, and we took off no wounds because you saved them all.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And over this side of the board, we had some pistol work done by the Raptors over here, and we managed to take out one from this squad and one from this squad, and we also took one wound off that rear tank from those guys back there. So now we're going to come on to some assaulting. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I was going to say this was the assault phase. However, as there was no assault in this phase, I can't really call it that. So yeah, over here, we charged in with the Raptors. They failed their charge. Then the Lord charged in. He failed his charge with a reroll. Actually, he didn't have a reroll in the end, so it didn't really matter. The Knight then decided to charge Banewolf over here. He also failed his charge. And then the Raptors at the back here also charged in, and they failed their charge. So, that is the end of my turn, and now we'll see what happens in turn 3 for the Imperial Guard.
Right, turn 3 movement for the Imperial Guard. So down here, the command squads, a commissar and one of the officers are pushing forward towards the Nightlord Raptors there, seeing their failed charge and then stalling. They've moved up, feeling a bit emboldened there. This squad here have also dropped in, and over here we've got another squad here. So we're getting them in a bit of a crossfire here. Hopefully it'll pay off, but we'll see. Back here, we are still holding this objective here, so we've scored one more point there. Another squad have grav-shooted in, and they're going to put a bit of firepower down here, as long as the 2 rear Tauroxes. Hopefully we can deal with them there. In the centre ruin here, one more squad has come in there. Going to put some fire onto the squad of Nightlords on that build, on that objective there. Moving across to the back here, we have got the 2 squads at the rear. The both sergeants here are moving back, trying to claim that objective in a future turn, but won't be able to do this turn, unfortunately. And the the Banewolf here has swung all the way around this time, and he's now right at the back here. He's on this objective for another turn. If it remains there, we've scored it, but unfortunately we're not scoring it this time. But he's going to put some fire onto this one guy here, send him back to hell. And that is it for our movement phase. We're going to go into shooting and orders, turn 3 for the Imperial Guard. End of turn 3 shooting, and a very brutal turn that was. So combined fire between all these squads here. We also had take aim here. In fact, take aim, I'm lying, it was bring it down, because of course we've got Yarrick there rerolling ones. So we had bring it down for issued to the 1 plasma gun there, and also to the melter guns from the other officer. So did a fair bit of damage there. Also other las guns came in with volley guns, stripping the squad all the way down to 3 here. Back here, however, the 2 Taurox primes and this squad here fired into the Raptor squad, decimating them. They have all fallen. Down in this building here, a volley gun, a few las guns came in here, killing a couple off that squad. And really the only other thing to say was the assassin played a stratagem again, causing another kind of wounds on there. So this knight's down to 9 wounds here. So really the Militarum Tempestus here are kind of stripping the Nightlords back and sending them back to hell where they belong. So we're going to move into turn 3 for the Nightlords, because we're not going to do an assault, because why would we?
Okay, so as we end at turn 3 for the Nightlords movement phase, Dom has dropped the dice everywhere. However, it's looking bleak for the Nightlords at the moment. So we're just trying to do some damage here. So this knight here has moved up along the back. And then over this side, over here, the Lord has made an advance towards this little group of men here. He's going to try and do some preaching to them. It's about skin care. And over here we have the 3 Raptors who jumped over to get to the back line there. And then finally, this lone Chaos Space Marine has moved in front of the Banewolf, along with these squads squaring up over here as well. So let's move on to shooting and let's see what happens. Okay, so as we end the shooting phase in turn 3 for the Nightlords, over here the Raptors had jumped over and obviously they shot in and killed one of these melters. On this side of the board we had every plasma and every bolt shot fire into this Banewolf, and we took it down to 1 wound. It wasn't quite enough, sadly. We did get a couple of saves off, otherwise it would have died. However, over here, the Knight then spun up its Avenger Gatler and took this Taurox down to 2. It also did fire its heavy stubber in it, trying to reenact the last round by killing it, but didn't quite get the last wound off that Beowulf. It did also fire its heavy flamer into here and take 1 more wound off. However, we'll now go into the assault phase, and we'll see if maybe we can get something in combat this round. We'll see. You never know. I mean, NightLords aren't sort of known for going into combat, so I mean, I suppose it's kind of just. We'll see what happens. Anyway, back in a minute with assault. Okay, so at the end of the assault phase for the NightLords over here, the Raptors and the Lord here jumped into combat with various units here. There was actually, I think, 4 units in total down here.
Yep.
And we took out the Plasma Squad and the Commissar and one of the officers.
Yep.
That was mainly down to the Lord, in fact. It was pretty much all of him. The Raptors didn't, I think the Raptor did a couple of damage to the Commissar, but nothing too drastic. They are now locked in combat there at the moment. However, I think they may be being vacated combat because there's some guns that need to spool up in a minute. However, over here, the Knight then charged into this Taurox at the back. Had obviously 5 attacks in total, hit with 1 of them, and obviously that did get through, but it was only 6 damage, sadly. So he is left on 2 wounds. There was no other combat on the board. So that is the end of turn 3 for the NightLords. We'll now come round to turn 4 for the Astra Militarum.
Right, so turn 4 movement for the Guard. So down here, the Kitron Drakes. These 2 are falling out of combat, following orders. They're falling out of combat with the NightLords. They're opening the NightLords up now to some fantastic shooting. So this squad of Scions are moving up to try and get themselves in a nice little position there. Currently, the closest target is the Lord, but we will see. Down here, this squad of Scions are moving up along the side of the building here, using it as cover. But a few of them have got a nice bead on the guys here. The Warlord and Yarrick hold firm against the Raptors and the traitor heretics there. Heretic Astartes there. Down here, the remaining command squad has disembarked from the Taurox with the officer and commissar. The Taurox is just smoking and sort of trundling off there. So they're going to put some fire into the Knight there. Down across here, though, the Scions are making a dash for the objective. So this squad here moving through the ruins, meters away here from the NightLords sitting on this objective. Down here, this squad has also broken cover and they are moving across no man's land here. Going to take a bit of fire possibly, but they're going to go in here to engage the heretics. Objective-wise, what we have here is this one has moved ever so slightly away from the Taurox. This one has remained stationary, so NightLords are still happily scoring that one there. Back here, this one remains stationary as well, so the Scions are still there, holding that objective. And finally, this one over here moved away from the Beowulf towards the NightLords there. So that is it for movement. Let's see if we can kill ourselves some traitors. End of turn 4 shooting for the Imperial Guard. So down here, this squad charged across the ruins here and decimated the last 4 Marines from behind, just the way they like it. Over here, the Beowulf incinerated the last Marine that was holding that objective there, so he is gone. Down here, however, the melter guns all fired. We had elimination protocol sanctioned as well, so re-rolling wounds. We had 4 hits. We wounded a couple of times. So we only wounded twice. So when we're within 6 inches, obviously we roll 2d6, pick the highest. So first dice. Yeah. Second dice. Second shot. So yeah, the 4 melter guns did 2 damage. Not good. It was joined by all the other small arms here, all firing off, and took them all the way down to 2 wounds here. So we might try and charge in combat there. Across here, we had fire from every corner. Everything opened up. Obviously, Stormtroopers well trained in what they're doing here, killing all of the Raptors and leaving the Warlord here on 2 wounds. So possibly Yarrick might have a little charge here and kill off the Lord. Yarrick Kebab, apparently. I'm not sure about that. The old man's got a few tricks up his sleeve, mainly an orc power claw. So we're going to move into turn 4 assault for the Imperial Guard. End of turn for assault for the Astra Militarum. So Yarrick originally tried to charge in, completely fluffed it. It was then down to the Warlord to charge in and killed off the Chaos Warlord here. So this mortal, well-trained mortal, killed off a Heretic Astartes in Terminator armor. So medals will be handing out afterwards. He'll definitely get a good fistful of medals. Across the battlefield, however, we did charge into here. We lost 2 of the command squad on the charge in. Unfortunately, we didn't do anything tonight. The officer down here, he lost a bit of, he took a bit of damage here. The commissar was completely crushed underneath the knight's foot there. And at the end of that, Tom has decided to throw the towel in as all the NightLords are dead and there's only a very, very badly wounded knight left. So that is the end of the game. Obviously, it's a guard victory. Not sure points-wise how close it was, really. There's a landslide, apparently. But yeah, naturally, all the NightLords have fallen and the guard are in pretty key positions now across the battlefield. So come objective-wise, they're going to be scoring quite highly there. Tom, do you have a unit of the match?
That is an interesting question.
Yes.
And I'm going to go with my Lord, just because he failed but also succeeded by killing characters.
Yeah, so the Chaos Lord down here is going to be your unit of the match there. For me, I will probably pick the Melter Squad that was down here, actually, because coming in onto the battlefield there and killing off the Scaran.
14 wounds.
14 wounds, exactly. Yeah. And then surviving combat against some raptors. And still being alive. It's pretty good going. So yeah, really fun game. Really enjoying playing my Militarum Tempestus again, Operation Trident. We've got a series on our channel, go check them out. And yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. This is Tom and Dom from BlackToad Studios. If you haven't already, give us a like and a subscribe. Comment below if you enjoyed this game. And we'll see you next time. Take care.